Hello everyone, my name is Ahmed. In today's C# lesson, we're going to talk about getters and setters and static. Let's begin. Now, for the getters and setters, we're actually going to use those getters and setters to access these private variables in my class book. So basically in another class. How are we going to do that? For that, let me just delete this first and also delete this. Now, what I want to do is that I want to print these variables in my program. But now I can't. Why is that? Because they are private. So for that, I'm gonna create a method for each variable. Then I'm gonna use get and setters for that each method. So let me just do that. Let me just create public string. Let's use the uppercase title for my title variable, and again, and actually let me just write nothing. Okay, the auto completion somehow make this uppercase, I don't know how, and of course I'm not gonna write my parentheses here, and as you can see, when I close my parentheses or basically delete the parentheses here, these get and set methods get colored by blue because they are keywords. Now, this get method, what does it do? It returns the value. What value? This title value. I mean, of course, we are gonna assign that value. Let's just say this is going to return our title variable. It doesn't have to return specifically this title variable, but we are gonna assign that value, assign that title value, so it returns my title variable. And as you can see, it says this has to return some value. So what does it return? It returns my title. And as you can see, my error is now vanished. And I want to do it like this. Okay, now I need to set some value to title here so it can return my title value there, right? And for that, I'm actually going to delete all of my default values so we can get a clearer result or more accurate result, as you may say. Now, in theory, technically, what are we going to do? We are going to assign some value to this title, right? What value? My value here. So basically, Aztec value. What did we call this? My value, right? So basically, if I just come here and write title assigns, so we are going to assign this title my value. So basically, the value keyword, this value keyword will become my value here. So basically it's going to transform itself to value Aztec right there. So it's a keyword for our Aztec right there. So basically this title have my value here. Now we're going to do this for all of the variables that we have here. Now let me just copy all of these. Okay, and write outer with a capital A, turn outer. Then we're just gonna do the same thing with page. And actually, I want to do something else here. What I want to do, I want to check if my values, of course I need to write page here. I want to check if my value is smaller than 0. So if it is a negative value, I want to say like error, just basically give an error and assign like page 0. So I can just come here and write if my value that I'm gonna enter is smaller than 0, just give me an error. Okay, and assign my page's value to 0. If it's not, assign my real value. And there we go. We have 3 methods for our 3 variables here. And for now, let's just print all of those out. How are we going to print that? We're just going to come here in the console right line parentheses. We are just going to write our object. Then when I put my point here, as you can see, we are seeing author, page, and title. And be careful, those are not my variable. Those are my methods here. But actually I'm just gonna change these around. Why is that? Because we are getting our title and setting our title from my methods, right? So I'm not going to set those from here. I'm going to set those from there. So I'm just going to change this to my method names. And as you can see, when I try to write those down, it automatically show me their names. Let me just copy this and paste this. Okay, now we're good. Let me come here and write title first and copy this. Oh, whoops. I just clicked console there. Author and of course page. This is for the book one. Now when I start my command, oh, we get an error. Why is that? Oh, we changed the wrong ones. I need to write those there, not there. Because we're assigning our values to our methods, because this is going to set my value to there. I just wrote in the wrong way. Okay, now it should be good, right? Let me start again. And as you can see, we are getting our values printed out now. And my variables here are in private security. And we are managed to print that out right now. We are managed to give them values here in our previous lesson, and now we are managed to print them out while in their private mode, guys. And let's just check for the pages. Let's change to -1 and say give me book 2's title, author and page. Let me just start my command, and as you can see, I'm getting the error for our page, guys. Why is that? Because my value of pages are less than 0. If I change to 0, you are not going to see actually an error here. Now let's move on to our static part. Okay, let's create a scenario. Let's just say we are going to write some counter here, so it just counts whenever I create a new object. So basically it's a counter for the book that we are going to create. So let me just write it without a static, guys. I'm just going to write public int book counter, and I can assign that to 0 actually from here. And let's just give a value here. So let's just update its value there. So it gets a 1 + 1 value every time I create my object. Or basically that's what I'm hoping. Now when I try to call that book counter method here, let's just say book 1, then as you can see we have book counter here. What is the result that book counter should give me? It's going to be 0 to 1 in my first object, then 1 to 2 in my second object, right? So it should give me 2, or basically that's what I'm hoping to get. But when I try to execute my command, it gives me 1 value. Why is that? Because my public int book counter variable is now connected to my object, guys. But I wanted to connect it to my class, not my object. And because of that, whenever I try to create an object, this gets executed, and if I try to create another object, this book counter gets reset, then it gets executed again. So it gets 0 to 1 here again, and it gets then resets, then it gets 0 to 1 here again. So this is going to give me 1 value every time. But if I change this to static public static int book counter, now this is connected to my class, guys. So this is going to be 0 to 1 in my first object, then it's going to be 1 to 2 in my second object. Why is that? Because I have 2 objects here. And as you can see, I'm getting an error right now. Why is that? Because my book counter variable here is now connected to my class. So I can't call it with using my object. I need to call it while using my class name. And as you can see, when I wrote my class name here, the error vanished. Now, when I start my comment here, it's going to give me the result of 2. As you can see, now I'm getting the result 2, guys. And actually, let me just create another object so you can understand better. Let's just say book 2, 3, Michael, and say 420. This is my third object. And what is the result that I'm gonna get now? I'm gonna get a result of 3. And as you can see, I have the result 3, guys. And with that, our static topic has been completed. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in our next C# lessons. Goodbye.